A lot of what we know about the situation of newly arrived migrants is through the media, and often this means social media. In this video, we'll talk about how teachers can become aware of the true situation, separate fact from fiction, and how we can contribute to an informed debate in our classrooms. It is true, we are 21st century teachers. Times are changing quite rapidly and quite fundamentally. We have diverse classrooms, we have rapid technological developments, we are very often affected by events outside of the classroom, and there's a permanent wash of information coming to us via social media feeds or news networks. This is why it is really important for teachers to promote intercultural understanding and universal principles and human rights in the classroom. What is exactly the situation of newly arrived migrants? Well, as we know, these people have suffered unimaginable things and are now faced with a new situation. We cannot begin to imagine what the psychological impact must be like. They left a war zone, they lost their family, they're faced with a new culture, new way of life, new language, and they're living in temporary conditions. Their future seems very uncertain. So, social media sets the narrative often. We get permanently fed news postings by friends, family, who not only post information but also their opinion. It's really easy to post what you think about a situation, and increasingly we see a lot of hate speech, a lot of harmful speech towards migrants. These postings often control the public conversation and perception of newly arrived migrants. What are some of the things that we have heard from social media? Well, in my situation in Austria, there were several rumors when the refugee crisis was at its peak. People would discuss the fact that there were many men, young men. People would be very upset about the fact that they thought that they would be getting more money than local people would get. There was a rumor about them getting cell phones free from the government, and the general mood was, okay, they're here to take our jobs away from us and to steal from us. What has been the result? Well, the situation led to the observation that no real informed debate or conversation could take place. It was very easy for different groups or political parties to promote their own interests and to sway public opinion. Conversations were often very emotional, and reactions were instant, unrestricted, and also posted immediately on the internet. So it was really hard to separate fact from fiction, what is true and what is not true. And the most important things for us teachers is that students, kids, they saw this firsthand and they heard stories and they believed these stories. So what can we do as teachers? Well, as many of us have done as well in our classrooms, we can be proactive. Don't wait for the topic to come up. We can create activities where we can introduce the topic of refugees, of newly arrived migrants, whether they're in the class or not. And we shouldn't discourage the conversation online. We should encourage the conversation online, but we should promote responsible behavior on social media and on the internet. Here are a few links where you can find videos and material on how to introduce this topic into your classroom. What a teacher should also be aware of is that the fact that apps like WhatsApp are being heavily used, are very popular among teenagers and even children. And here it is also very, very easy for false information to be spread. Children get these messages from their family or their friends, so they don't really block these messages because they're from family and friends. And chain messages, especially about refugees, they threaten, they warn, they spread lies, or even send manipulated pictures. How do students react? Well, they feel pressure to be accepted. They think that bad things will happen. And if they are pressured to forward the message or the picture, then they don't really realize what the impact of this is. So it's up to us to be aware of this and to monitor their use of WhatsApp or other Snapchat or Instagram. Not to police them, but to school them or train them in how to use these services responsibly. Of course, it should be our attitude or intention to be aware of the pressure that the child is often under. Young children often take these threats really, really seriously. If in a chain letter it says, if you don't send this message, then we will kill your mother, a child would tend to believe this according to his age. We need to reassure the kids that these are threats, these are empty threats. They have no consequences whatsoever. Kids should react to chain messages with a stop. They should send a message to the sender. I don't like these kind of messages. And what is even more important is to teach kids how to recognize what is fake and what is real. How to recognize what is a rumor and what is not a rumor. They should know that pictures can be manipulated, like in Photoshop, or that social media actually is not the correct place for a reliable and unbalanced source of news. So what should the teachers also do on social media? As teachers, we should, of course, be aware that our social media profiles are public profiles. They may be personal profiles, but we are teachers and we are known as teachers. So what we post is being associated with you and your school. And don't forget that the internet does not forget. So if you post anything, behavior, photos or postings that you may regret later, it's really difficult sometimes to erase these things. So be preemptive and don't post it in the first place, something that it would not respect a certain group. And of course, your students are watching you and will imitate you. So we have the great chance to be a good role model in this and to model good behavior. Some examples of bad behavior. In this news report, it was reported that a teacher or teacher assistant was fired because she posted something on Facebook, really racist or derogatory remarks about Michelle Obama, and she faced a really heavy backlash because of these postings and was actually let go of her post. The second example was in Germany a few months ago, where somebody posted something on Facebook and it got a lot of attention because it was a very, very derogatory remark about refugees. She backtracked her remarks soon after, of course, but it serves the purpose to inform us these things are not posted anonymously, and what you post is what is associated with you. So be smart and teach your students to also be smart on social media and be aware of the correct situation of newly arrived migrants. And that's it for this presentation. If you are interested in learning more, here are some sources, interesting links. You can click on the link to get to these different really informative sites. And I say thank you for watching.